Welcome to the Ever Onward podcast. For this month, our theme is going to be education, and I am thrilled, elated to have one of my really good friends, mentors, one of the best examples I've had in my life of everything leadership, Roger Quarles. Roger is the executive director of the J.A. and Kathryn Albertson Foundation. He has been there for a long time and just making a tremendous difference in our valley. What I love about Roger is he began his career in the private sector, but then spent 20 years in Idaho's educational system as a teacher, principal, superintendent, and then was the chief deputy state superintendent. He then went to Boise State University and started the Center for School Improvement, and then joined JCAF and has been there for 12 years. Roger has done some incredible things. We'll talk about him this month. You will love having him on here with me, but most importantly, one of the best humans on the planet, passionate about education. So today we'll start this month with Roger Quarles. Roger.
Tommy.
Man, this is going to be fun. You're my co-host this month.
Okay.
So I did Andy Scoggin first month, and we did longevity. Did 3 podcasts.
Ooh, that's a good one. It's a good topic.
And then Matt Todd. We interviewed Bedke, Moyle, and Anthem.
Okay.
And then last month was Garrett Lofto.
Okay.
On transportation.
All right.
And we did ITD, ACHD, and Compass. And today, you and I will record with Terry Ryan, Jennifer Swindell, and our superintendent, Debbie Critchfield. It's going to be fun.
It's a good lineup. Yeah, it'll be great.
Yeah. Well, you forgot more about a lot of this stuff than most people will ever know about education in Idaho.
Yeah. I've been out for a little while, but I still keep my finger on the pulse.
You've been out for a little while, but I forgot until I was preparing for this. You came up through the ranks and did it all in education in Idaho.
I don't know if I did it all, but...
Well, I mean, teacher, principal, superintendent, chief deputy, state superintendent.
Yeah.
What did I miss?
I spent a couple years at Boise State
That's
helping
right.
them stand up their executive educational leadership program, which is a great program. I've dabbled in a few things.
Tell us, it's funny, actually Matthew Rabe, the editor for his magazine,
Yeah.
Heather, I just walked by her and she's like, is Roger Quarles there today? And I'm like, yeah, you know him? She's like, he was my principal.
Get out
He
of
was
here.
the coolest guy ever.
In CUNA.
Yeah, she just said she's back in his office. And so a lot of people's lives you've affected.
Well, it's funny, the people you meet along the way and the influences and the relationships you build, but Ellie Brown, I don't know if you know Ellie. She's still a dear friend of mine. She was a freshman at CUNA High School and then graduated my second to last year there. She's now she works for INL. She's on the government affairs side of things. And I see her all the time. And she's now married and a mom. And, she still calls me Mr. Quarles, which I think is funny. But I think that's one of the most rewarding things is seeing the relationships and then seeing those grow over the years and seeing these people go on to do incredible things with their lives.
What attracted you to education?
Well, a lot of things that happened in my life were serendipitous in a variety of ways. As a young man, I was in the restaurant business, in the pizza business, and I think I've shared that with you. And then I was doing soul searching when I was about 32, 33 years old. Like, am I going to make pizza for the rest of my life? It was very good. It was very good for me and my family and great business. But I stumbled into this idea through a friend's request if I ever had an interest in teaching. And I hadn't really thought about that because I'd coached, I'd coached little kids. I coached at camps, basketball like you. And I was volunteering at Wood River High School as an assistant varsity coach. I'd roll the balls out, I'd sweep the floor, run a few drills in practice. And that led to meeting a school district superintendent who was Dr. Jim Lewis at the time. And he's the one that really encouraged me to pursue this path of education. And I took the step, man. It wasn't expected, wasn't part of my plan. And yet, 20 years of my life in that field was probably some of the most 20 rewarding years I've ever had professionally.
It's a pretty unique position you get to be in in life where you're able to spend your days teaching,
Yeah.
training, mentoring, lifting others, right?
Yeah. There are a lot of really good people in education. I mean, they do it for a different reason, obviously, than a lot of us in how we look at our lives. But I think it's probably the most important job on the planet.
Yeah.
It's also probably one of the most difficult jobs on the planet.
Yeah.
To do it well with everyone and their own unique skills and attributes they bring to the table, it's a pretty heavy responsibility. And I don't know if we as a city, county, state understand the real nature of it. I think most families take it for granted. It's just an assumption. You're going to get on a bus, go to school, maybe get a breakfast, be taught by certified teachers, get a lunch. Same thing in the afternoon. If you're fortunate enough to be part of a, co-curricular, extracurricular activity, you get to be in that, and then a bus brings you home. And so most parents aren't really engaged in their child's education. I mean, they care, but as far as their involvement, they're making some pretty broad assumptions that every kid is going to get access to the same things. And it just isn't that way. I mean, we go to schools in our state based on a zip code, a mailing address, with the exception of school choice, private schools, charter schools, magnet schools, whatever. But the foundation of this country is built on an educated citizenry. So just think about that just fundamentally. We need, all of us, to have some sort of fundamental understanding of reading, writing, arithmetic, science, all the arts, and then put that into a democratic republic that we operate under. We need hardworking, very intelligent, smart people in a variety of roles, as you know, with what you do, from the entry-level position all the way to your top execs. I mean, that all starts with, when do you learn how to read? When do you learn how to play with your friend? And,
You're you really are an expert in this. That's why I love having you here today. But talk a little bit about, I remember it's got to be 10 years ago now, Roger, but you guys were big at the foundation.
Yeah.
And you brought a speaker out that talked about just how, you had the Industrial Revolution and kind of school systems as we know them.
Right.
This is how you learn. This is when you learn to read. This is when you do algebra. This is when you do this. But I remember the presentation that it was really about how do we create workers.
Yeah.
Right. And then the point was, over time, it really hadn't changed too much. It's kind of stayed very much the same over decades and decades and decades. And I know your work with Foundation, you guys have really said, hey, how do we help, and how do we really make a difference? But I'm trying to get to a question here. At your age now, looking back, everything you've done, and you kind of see the state of the United States of America, our country we love, the state we love, families we love that are here. Give us your assessment for, sir, kind of how things have gone, where they're headed. You got technology, you have this boom of, you have the advent of the iPhone, and everyone walks around with a supercomputer.
Yeah.
The way we access information, AI coming, it's almost overwhelming to me sometimes. I get asked a lot by people, like, what do you think is going to happen? I just spent yesterday, I got back at midnight from San Francisco.
Okay.
We're down there, and I witnessed with my own two eyes now what AI is doing to that city. They have all that vacancy is all eaten up. You walk through building after building with all these 20-something years. No.
Oh, young people?
Dude, it is... From when I was there a couple of years ago to now, all the vacancy in the downtown area is filled, and it's all AI companies.
Wow.
They're all these 20-somethings from Stanford, OpenAI, and it's everywhere down there. Yeah. And yesterday, I spent the whole day there, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this thing is taking off again. Yeah. What does this mean? What does it mean to the future? But in the context of all of this, what are your thoughts? Where are we headed? What do we need to be keeping our eye on?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. First of all, I would say historically, to your point about producing workers and contributors to our country, I think that's essential. I think foundationally, you have to have that. You have to learn how to learn as a young person. So, those formative years, pre-K through fourth, fifth grade is really fundamentals. It's like the basics. I mean, this is going to come across, I don't want it to come across in the wrong way, but for most kids, 6th through 12th grade is irrelevant. I mean, if you don't understand how to apply your learning, once you learn fundamentally how to learn, this is where technology really comes into play, because you can find a young person that's really passionate, that has now the skills we talked about and aptitudes, how to use this technology in a productive, healthy way. They can do pretty remarkable things. But as a system, the way we operate with the essential nature and the foundational nature of what we do, I think we're going to see some pretty dramatic changes around what that 6th grade, 12th through 18-year-old opportunities start to look like. When I was a kid, I'm a little older than you, but everything was.
But before you go on, I want to make sure I understand, because I really want to understand this. So you're saying, and I think I've heard this a whole bunch, like you learn how to learn.
Yeah.
That's critical.
Yeah.
That's why that pre-K, kind of developing those neural pathways in a child's brain of learning and enjoying learning happens, right?
Yeah.
And if you get that right, and you learn how to read, and you learn how to learn,
Mm-hmm.
then it opens you up to what could be an incredible experience.
Exactly.
Where especially with technology. Is that
and some young people get that today.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I
Sure.
mean, there's a group of people that really navigate that in a
Yeah.
meaningful way, and they go on to do incredible things
Yeah.
with their lives. But there's a big swath of people that just get lost in the minutia.
Yeah.
And we talk about exploring your passion. What are you interested in? Well, I think you need a variety of those things to make it happen. I just know that the way we do it now is antiquated.
Yeah,
I mean, it really is. It's punch the clock. You need a safe place to go, learn things, play sports or not, be in a band, whatever or not. And then you make a decision. Am I going to get a job, or am I going to go to college? I even think higher ed is going to be dramatically impacted.
I think so too.
By the AI boom, especially if we get into this generative AI thing, and I'm sure you know a little bit about that too. But I think if we don't adjust and we don't adapt, that there's going to be some realities that hit home about how well are we equipping our young people to go on and participate in this world of this rapidly changing environment. And here's the thing, I don't know how to do that yet. I haven't really philosophized or given that a whole ton of thought, but there are a lot of people that are thinking about that. I mean, there are a lot of people. So if you want to take it back to some of the stuff that we do, school choice, just like, you go to school wherever you live, but school choice is a way for a young person and their family to figure out the best path forward for them. I even think within that environment, what we do beyond those early formative years is going to be dramatically different. I don't know if it's, I mean, we got laws that provide young people from working, but if it's this work experience, I mean, I literally spent the morning with a guy that 3D prints everything that he's curious about. He's a 41-year-old man, and he's got a 10 and a 12-year-old daughter. And if they have a project or a problem they're trying to solve, they 3D print it and they make it themselves in a matter of a few hours. And so 3D printers weren't around when we were kids. I mean, you had to get a saw or get a welder or sander and try to put something together. Now it's at their fingertips. So technology is advancing things to where you can see things. Just think about the collective knowledge in that database of generative AI. That's all of the thought of mankind over the years aggregated in one spot to where you prompt appropriately and you can quickly get to a solution that you and I used to solve with a paper and a pencil, and eventually a calculator when that became okay to use a calculator. So the way we teach young people is going to shift. It's going to change. And then I don't know if that's concerning or not, because, like you, I get excited about industrial revolutions and the next boom that's going to create new jobs. And I'm okay not knowing what those jobs are going to be, but the reality is they are going to be way different than what we've been preparing people for at that, I'd say, the secondary level. So school all plays into that. I mean, you got self-driving vehicles. I mean, you need driver's ed anymore? I mean, we got more young people now not getting a driver's license than ever in the history of that. And for you and I don't know about you, but getting a driver's license was a big deal.
Yeah, that was. Let me follow up on that a little bit. So, you have grandkids.
Yeah, yeah.
How old are they?
They're anywhere from 2 to almost 16. There's
awesome.
6 of them in there. Hopefully more on the way.
Awesome. We're getting so old, our faces light up. If anyone were watching, or I mean, as soon as you start talking about grandkids, there's nothing better, right?
No, exactly. It's the greatest thing ever.
What are you telling your grandkids? What do you like?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know the answer to these things, because I honestly, the more I dig and the more I study and the more I try to learn for lots of reasons. I want to understand AI for my business.
Yeah.
I want to understand AI for my family and my future. And I also want to be part of a community that gets it.
Yeah.
But the more I study it, sometimes I go, I don't know.
Yeah.
But what are you telling your grandkids to do? What would you tell your 16-year-old or take a kid that's 10 or 16 and what are you thinking right now?
Well, we know each other fairly well, and so being a good human being comes first. Always.
I love this.
I mean, just truly being a kind, thoughtful human being. But then I said that's part of the equation. I mean, what sort of skill set, what sort of knowledge are you interested in? What do you think you need today to help you get to where these jobs that we don't even know what they are right now? I mean, there's certain jobs we know you can get right now. But the 16-year-old, it's kind of interesting because what I said earlier about higher ed, I'm like, I think the value proposition of higher ed is waning. I think it's a healthy, safe place to grow up, depending on the environment that your family and you select. I think there's a comfort in that for me, but there's also the reality of, I don't know if you know, student debt is second. Oh. It's a second debt only to home mortgages in this country. So we got more student loan debt than we have anything else, and that's just a burden that we straddle our young people with that a lot of them don't even know how to make up over time. So the value proposition is going to change, but my counsel and my advice to my own children and my own grandkids has always been be well-read, pay attention, be aware, learn, surround yourself with really smart people, walk through open doors that you don't know are on the other side because you never know what opportunity is going to be there, work hard, and be a kind human being while you're doing it.
That was powerful. That's that's probably the formula for success.
I don't know if it's a formula for success, but it's just like when you hope and dream about the people you love the most on this planet, what you hope for them, you can help them get there. They're gonna go through the school hard knocks, man. I mean, like we did.
I get to talk to youth quite a bit, and one of my favorite things to tell them right now is a lot of what you just said. I'm like, I don't know for sure what this looks like, but what I can tell you is if you're kind, if you're genuine, if you can look someone in the eye and shake their hand, and open a door for someone, and just be attentive and aware and present, and develop the social skills that set you apart from your current generation, you will succeed. Yeah. Because there are so many people right now that are not doing those things that you will stand out however this thing sorts itself out over time. And that's pretty reassuring. If you can develop those skills, they're called soft skills a lot or whatever they are. I think a lot of it's just kind of, I don't know when it became soft skills. Roger.
I think they're just life skills, man. They're like fundamental.
It was like the fundamentals back when we were, but now they're like, you have to learn life skills. But but I really do believe that. I believe that.
Well, if you think about your leadership group that you've assembled, and you think about the skills and attributes or dispositional qualities or personalities they bring to the table, you're looking for a specific type of leader, or even an employee. You're just looking for the kind of person that wants to be part of something special, that's not afraid to tackle hard things, that's willing to show up, put their best foot forward. They can be vulnerable and say, I don't know how to do this, but I'm willing, here's where I am. I'm willing to keep going. I just need some guidance. mean, it's those, you call them soft skills, but it's the skills I think that you and I have always looked for in people that have helped us along our way.
Well, you got out of an interview this morning for a very important position in your organization.
Yeah.
And maybe for our listeners, we do have a lot of business folks there. I mean, there's a lot of people that are really interested in, I do believe lifelong learning, always looking for ways to make yourself better, make your strengths stronger, make your weaknesses strengths.
Yep.
There's a lot of people that are trying to do that. But go a little more deeper on that. Like you just had a couple of hours. Because Roger, this is not, I'm not blowing love bubbles here, man, but I'm telling you, like I've been around you a lot, and watching you lead and you do your thing is really impressive. One of the best that I've ever seen do it.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, if you were giving advice to those people interviewing for these jobs with you today, you've said a few of them, but go a little deeper. What matters for you in your next generation of leadership in your organization?
Yeah. Well, competency is important. I mean, I'll just start with that. I mean, the knowledge, the understanding. And I think it depends on what level of person you're looking for. This happens to be a senior level person that we're considering bringing in. I live by the mantra that culture eats strategy for breakfast. So there's so much research and an abundance of information out in the world that says highly productive, highly effective teams that are incredibly well led have a few things in common. And it is basically, I wish I had the person I could quote, but the igniting question or the context of why. So you are exceptional at this. How do you create this context or rationale of why we're going to do this, why we're going to tackle this problem? And then this psychological safety component of the team with shared experiences along their journey, like not necessarily like-minded, but shared experiences where we actually like each other. Yeah. To the point where we can have hard conversations.
And you actually want a little contrast.
Yeah, you want contrast.
Yeah.
But then there's this other intergenerational piece where you need people that have different lived experiences.
Yeah. Yep.
You got the shared experiences, means culturally we can get along. And then there's this, for the lack of a better term, young, old. You and I've talked about wisdom a lot. Wisdom comes from bad experiences and bad experiences where you get wisdom. I think, am I saying that right?
That's right.
Yeah. So that lived experience where you had enough of that or you haven't had enough of that, and then you can coach each other and build something unique and special that produces the outcome that we're hopeful for. Wow. So that I don't know if that really gets to the essence of the question, but it seems to make sense in regards to, I said this, competency is important, and obviously we're hiring potentially very competent people that have got a resume that, that's great. Yeah. But really, for me, it's what do you bring to the table beyond the competency?
Yeah, competency is kind of given, right?
Yeah.
You got the stack of resumes that have all that. Yeah. What are the things that are going to make you fit?
Yeah, who are you? Yeah, who are you? What do you really value?
Yeah.
This gentleman today asked me a question that, what was something that used to be a priority that's not so much a priority anymore? And I was like, wow, or how have you changed your mind on that? This guy's a pretty sharp guy, asked me this question. And I thought about it for a second, and I said, well, there was a point in my life where the bottom line was the most important thing in my organization, and I didn't really understand, this is younger Roger, I didn't really understand that it's the journey and the people that you bring along that journey that's actually going to help either improve that or make that go the other way. And so when you get older, you start to realize I'm only as effective as these people I surround myself with. So who are these people? And I think we don't spend enough time professionally in most environments because, we work hard, keep your head down. But someone in the organization or a group of people should be responsible for, hey, how's it going? Literally, how are you doing beyond this task that I've asked you to complete? When you want to be the employer of choice, we throw that a word around all the time in our organization, and I've heard us all say it. What does that really mean?
Yeah.
It means a lot of things. It's really driven by culture, productivity, compensation. It all goes hand in hand. So, yeah, I always look for the type of human being that I would want to bring into my inner circle. And it's
Wow, that's some rich stuff there. That's
Like,
good.
like who do you want to? You do the same thing.
Yeah,
I know you do the
yeah.
same thing.
And I do think a couple of other kind of foundational things. People follow people.
Absolutely.
I think you've got to have a vision that's authentic.
Yeah.
You got to believe it in your heart, mind, and soul. You got to be able to share it and communicate that with clarity.
Oh,
And then develop, but it is culture eats strategy, right? It's like if you can create that culture, you can accomplish anything together, right?
yeah.
I'd tell a quick story from yesterday because I had a phenomenal experience. We have a restaurateur out of San Francisco that wants to come up in a couple of our projects.
Okay.
So he invited us down to tour his 17 restaurants in San Francisco yesterday. So I had never met him before. My guys had, Holt and Mark had, so we all went down together. And this kid, well, he's not a kid, he's 42 now, but he's
a kid.
from mainland China,
Okay.
comes to America when he was 17 years old with $800 in his pocket.
Wow.
And I just sat there at lunch and I'm like, I want to hear this story because how does this happen?
Yeah.
And you hear this story of him. I'm going to get to the point of this, but I hear the story of him starting working at a grocery store and then starting working as a restaurant as a dishwasher and saving his money. And he had to send most of his money back home to pay for his trip over. But growing slowly, opened his first restaurant at the age of 22 after being here 5 years in Chinatown. And he now has built an empire down there. But we visited probably 7 of his restaurants yesterday, and I watched this kid. I watched him walk in and greet the hostess up front. We went and toured each kitchen, and every single person he met kind of gave him the bro handshake, pat on the back, hug, how you doing? I watched him ask about their families and this is 7 different restaurants.
Yeah.
So we were with him from about 10 a.m. till 9 p.m. last night. And as I got in the car, I said to Ryan, I'm like, you get around successful people, and they are culture builders.
Yep.
They are culture warriors.
Yep.
They genuinely care about people. It was so obvious.
Yeah.
We sat there at lunch with his CFO, and that you could see their bond, and you watched him with all the way down to the dishwasher in his restaurants, and him sitting there talking to him. And I thought, okay, guy's got 400 employees. There's a reason this guy is killing it. And there's a reason that he's, hangs out with Steph Curry on the weekends, and he's built this life for him. It's been hard work. It's been soft skills. It's been genuinely caring about people and being a dynamic leader that wants to create something bigger than himself. When I left, I'm like, dude, I don't know if this is going to work out, but thank you for inspiring me and seeing, just reigniting a fire in me of like, hey, this is cool to watch someone do their thing.
Well, I love that. So another mutual friend of ours, and Bill Whitaker.
Yeah.
You hear Bill talk about his executive leadership style. He'll tell you his favorite things, like what did he enjoy most? And it was walking around and talking to, I don't know how many employees they had, but a lot. Said one of his favorite stops was in the mailroom.
Yeah.
And getting to know the people that brought the mail in and distributed it throughout the building. He said just down to earth, hardworking Americans trying to make a difference that we're incredibly proud to work for his organization. I mean, like, who does that anymore? Like, I know you do it. I try to do it.
I try to do it. This year, I have like my morning routine because I try to have good mornings. I told you that. But this year, on my third thing on my list my mantra that I kind of go through every morning, one of them is to do a lap. It's called.
Okay.
And this year I thought I am going to stop in my day and walk around our office once a day and just go say hi to people. How are you doing? Because I love them all.
Right.
But sometimes I'll get grinding so hard that when's the last time I went into accounting and said, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
How are things going? And it's been good for me. But I think you have to intentionally do those things or you just can fill up days, right?
Yeah. You're so inspirational to me in so many ways. And not to be patronizing, but I picked up on that one thing about do one more thing that your grandmother taught you. And I'm trying. And
have you had some good experiences?
I've had some incredible experiences just doing one more thing. Yeah. When I'm exhausted and I'm tired and I'm going home, I'm going to text somebody, I'm going to call, I'm going to stop by. And it's making a difference. Yeah. It's bringing more joy.
It fills your tank.
It fills my tank by me doing one more thing.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating, but I'd never thought of it that way until you brought it up. But just do one more thing.
Hey, we're going all over the place, and we'll talk about education. I promise.
It all comes back to education, man.
But I wanted to celebrate Summit with you a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So Roger, I mean, it's just incredible what the family does so that,
Yeah.
Joe Scott, incredible guy,
Yeah.
pretty quiet about all the things he does and impactful he is. He's kind of behind the scenes
By choice.
by choice. But so Roger, through Joe and the family, Joe's passion really to help veterans,
Yeah.
did the filled house, which is unbelievable,
Yeah.
world-class facility. But you asked me to help you with
Yeah.
Summit Hyperbarics and Wellness, and we just got accredited. So for those listening, I've talked about it a few times on here, but it is the world's. I don't think there's another place like it in the world.
Maybe in Israel.
Maybe Israel. 2 8-person multi-person chambers, hyperbarics chambers, and we're diving veterans with PTSD and traumatic brain injury.
And first responders. And some adaptive athletes.
And some adaptive athletes. And I think we're almost at 10,000 dives at this point.
They passed it.
Did they?
10,000 dives in the last year and a half.
So all of it covered by the foundation.
Yep.
Free of charge to all these veterans, but unbelievable results. And now we're the first accredited facility like ours, and it was fun to watch those
in the world.
Those emails come across.
Oh yeah,
from the accrediting agency saying, "Oh my goodness, we have no comments. Your protocols, everything you're doing, it's fantastic. You're the model for the rest of this." So I'm really proud of what you've done, Roger. It's unbelievable. It gives me chills.
Well, you say what you've done. I would say what we've done. I mean, oftentimes the money is just the catalyst.
Yeah.
I mean, when you live by a mission of accelerating opportunities, first of all, what are those opportunities? How do you identify an opportunity? What does that look like to you? I think we have a unique lens in how we look at those things. But when our foundation and when the Scott family decides to do something important for the people that live in Idaho and deserve it, not a handout, but a hand up, you see Doc Wyman, through your recommendation and your introduction, and then you volunteering to cover him when he's out of town, you see things that start to make a pretty dramatic impact on people's lives.
Yeah.
And hyperbaric oxygen therapy, for people that don't know, is just pressurized air in a contained environment, breathing pure oxygen that has amazing powers in your body. And so typically used for wound healing. You're a medical doctor, so you know all this, but some of the listeners may not. But the traumatic brain injury, the concussion-related symptoms seem to be, through the research team that's there studying this, pretty powerful in improving outcomes for those folks. But we're also seeing it on the trauma side.
Yeah.
And so, which is really fascinating. So people that maybe have a traumatic brain injury but also suffer from PTSD or another issue, those things are getting better. They're improving with the protocol that the team over there has put together, and now the research piece is going to share. We'll be able to share that out. But yeah, Tommy, I hear probably one of the greatest things about my job is, first of all, you always wonder, you're really making a difference. I mean, when you got to deploy money, give away money to organizations that you believe in and things that you want to support, sometimes the outcomes are, you're looking for big numbers. You're looking, how do we help? I don't want to just help one person. How do we help 10,000 people? And so I would say, yeah, the 10,000 is important, but I hear the one story like you do over and over and over again, 10,000 times.
Yeah.
And it's so gratifying and so rewarding, because these are things that people were really struggling with that now they don't have to struggle with anymore. It's like you're just taking a burden off their shoulders.
I would add to that, one of the things that's been so rewarding, it's just like, I love being down there because I'll watch and be able to talk to these guys that are going through it, guys and gals. And yeah, it's one person, but oftentimes they've been suffering for
years,
decades sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they come in, they get treated through these protocols, and it affects them for sure, but their families and everything downstream. It's been amazing. And I look forward to the day, which won't be too far off, that we're going to have enough research and data that the VA starts to have to approve this and pay for it. The technology, it's non-invasive. It could be done lots of different places, and certainly for the amount of money we spend on pharmacology in this country,
it's fairly inexpensive compared to the other path. So here's the thing, we never set out to change Big Pharma's mind on how we do things. We just set out to help people.
Yeah.
And so if a byproduct is a less expensive way to treat things similarly with better outcomes or equal outcomes, so be it. That's great. But I think the most important message is the folks the people that we're serving see the benefits that you and I are seeing every day when we're over there. Can I just tell you, I got to tell you one thing on that, not to elaborate, but we tried to stay out of, when we created Mission 43, our veterans initiative through the foundation, we are not medical professionals. We tried to stay out of the behavioral health, physical issue space. 97% of the philanthropic money in this country, we learned, goes to about 7 to 10% of the transitioning veteran population, meaning people that have been injured in combat, injured on duty, blown up, died, need accessible stuff for their house, need a new home, just whatever they need. The majority of philanthropic money went to that group. So we intentionally tried to stay out of it. We focused on employment, education, and then engagement. But what we found out through the engagement pillar is we had people that were really trying, and it was either a spouse or a friend or somebody would step up and say, my husband or my wife is really grappling with this. Is there something you can do? So we subbed these opportunities out. We sent them to Texas, to Warriors Heart for substance abuse. We sent them down to Colorado to the Marcus Institute for Brain Health. We sent them to hyperbaric facilities around the country. And while we tried to stay out of it, there was just a demonstrated need where we needed to do something. And with your help and guidance on the hyperbaric oxygen therapy, we were able to do something, I wouldn't say at a fairly low cost, but to set it up, a price point that worked for us, that's actually producing the outcomes that we never even thought we would see, that is making a pretty impact on these guys, these men and women's lives, and children in some cases.
Every time I work down there, I'll shoot Joe a text because I just always say, I hope you know, right? I hope you know how impactful this is.
Oh, he does.
Just how
he does.
Like it is. If you spent your whole life doing what we do and you impacted one soul, right?
Yeah.
It would be worth it. And you're impacting literally thousands of souls in a significant way.
Well, to your point,
so
and their
big.
extended families,
And their extended
their immediate
family.
and extended families.
Anyway, it's so cool. So I just want to tell you thanks for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's been wonderful to be
Thanks
part
for
of.
knowing.
I just love being. You just get around it, and it's infectious.
It really is.
It is.
And their team they put together down there with Doc and Davin and Bonnie and Troy and all the team members, they are top notch.
Best of the best. I want to do it now because now it's coming out for longevity. Have you seen?
Yep.
I mean, I know you guys have known this for a long time, but it's the thing.
It is the thing.
If you can add that to sauna and a couple of other things.
Cold plunge, sauna, hyperbarics, good diet, good exercise, good lifestyle, be nice to people.
You can live longer. Get a dog.
Get a dog, exactly.
That's awesome. Hey, going back to education, because we go all over the place. What are you most excited about as we have these guests on today? But in Idaho education, the foundation's been at it for a long time. You've done so much. We'll get into it with Terry, with Bloom. I do think you've got a superintendent that's coming on today.
Outstanding.
I mean, I think she's been dynamic and really focused on public education. She's been doing a good job. What are your thoughts before we have these guests on?
Yeah. To your point about Debbie, Superintendent Critchfield, she is really good, really trying to do her best, and making some headway in some areas. The guests that we have, so in all transparency, Terry Ryan in Bloom is a initiative grantee partner of ours. We recruited him to Idaho. He was one of the best in the country at what he does, and he's been working miracles since the day he landed in Boise with his family. Idaho Ed News and Jennifer Swindell. We used to spend a lot of money every year on campaigns that resonated with some people and really, frankly, upset a whole nother group of people. But we were trying to share candidly where we were. I mean, what credible evidence are you going to use to convict yourself of student learning? I mean, there's standardized tests, there's all kinds of tests, physical tests, emotional tests, mental tests, whatever. But ultimately, what's the credible evidence that we could all land on that makes sense? So we could say, hey, how do we help minimally get all of our kids to here? So school choice I think is important for a variety of reasons, which we touched on earlier. Awareness from the Idaho Ed News point, I mean, they are the experts on the educational reporting about where we stand on the academic outcomes, on the financial aspects of it, the political side of it. They cover it all. It's free. We fund that. We have no editorial control over what they write or publish. It's up to them, Jennifer and her team. Jennifer will know a lot about all the things that we want to talk to. And then you've got Debbie Critchfield, who is trying to navigate the political and operational side of a public education for every kid in this state. We've got about 300,000 school-age children. She's also on the state school board, which covers higher ed, as you well know. Wasn't until a couple years ago we had, all-day kindergarten available for every kid in the state, funded by the state. Compulsory education, I believe, still currently starts at 5 and ends at 16. That's when you have to be in school so you don't get in trouble. So you got all these different ideologies and political positions that are trying to, either tear it apart, build it up. It's always this struggle for balance. But what is that balance? I don't know.
But overall, asking you, we've made progress. If you look back at the last, you feel good.
I feel good on the progress.
Yeah, you got to, right? I mean, I think I'm not nearly into it as deeply as you are, but just from the outside looking in of some of the progress we've made, it feels good.
Yeah.
There's wonderful people that are all trying to help the families of Idaho. They're tackling big issues and some legacy, it's like turning the Titanic on a lot of this stuff, right?
Well, I would guess I would ask you, where do you think the progress has really occurred? Because in my mind, the progress has really happened engaging parents.
Yeah.
In that conversation, period.
I would say offerings.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go back to 15 years ago, most kids went very traditionally, and even choice within a district.
Yeah.
And choice in charters, just choice in general. I mean, I think a lot of the Valley. I think when I ran for governor, I really got an eye opener, right?
Yeah.
Because I think we have to talk about this in kind of urban settings and then rural settings, because they're not the same.
No,
they're very different, and you got to be careful how you do that a little bit. But I look at our districts here. I think they do a wonderful job.
They do,
and I think there's a lot of choice within those districts. I think career technical education is booming in so many ways. Can still do a lot more of it. We've spent a lot of time with our nonprofit, Teens to Trades, trying to help. And I really, every time I go do a visit or I go to these technical high schools and see how we can help, and a lot of the stuff you're doing with some of the less fortunate kids that we're helping.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great things going on in my mind.
I agree. But you touched on something there that you hit the nail right on the head. So there are 115 school districts in Idaho, okay, around the state. There are 80, I'm going to say somewhere around 80 charter schools around the state. There are, I don't know how many private school choice opportunities there are, but there's quite a few. But the majority of the 115 school districts in our state are rural.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I don't spend much time in Richfield, Dietrich and Shoshone.
Yeah.
Or Camas. I mean, those just pop right in my head. But if you think about that, what students in the Treasure Valley have access to, what somebody at Shoshone High School might have access to, are completely different.
Completely different.
The whole system and the whole model, Tommy, I mean, my doctoral dissertation was on highly effective school board members. But if you think about our system in general, you have locally elected school board members that run for office. They've got to be 18 years old, not have a felony on their record, and then get the votes to get elected. That's the criteria. They call them lay citizens to operate school districts. And yet that group is responsible for the biggest part of our budget statewide. It's Jennifer will tell you exactly what it is, and so could Debbie. I want to say it's $2.5 billion. But if you just think about that. So no pre-service requirement, no in-service requirement. I just have to run. I have to live in a specific part of my community defined by zone, and I can get elected, and then I can serve in this capacity. That has worked for our country since we created this thing, but I think that part is lagging in an in-service requirement about that responsibility and what that means. You know, it's funny because I'll ask her, you know, I used to have like the David Letterman top 10, and I can't remember what the first ones are, but it was rural school top 10 from Roger's perspective is our school is just crushing it, you know, and what they're really saying is that our football team is better than it's ever been. It's how a community views the purpose and the intention of what the school should be doing.
Yeah.
You get beyond Mountain Home between here and Twin Falls. Go to Bliss. I mean, I'll choose Richfield. Richfield is notorious for having outstanding girls basketball teams. Our school district is the greatest. Well, what they're really saying is
Our sports
teams are amazing. And so, but that's their identity. The whole community comes out to support those things.
How does, we probably get into this for hours, but it is alarming from just because when you're not in the education world and you try to go educate yourself and you'd go visit, because I think I did 87 of the 130 districts. I went and visited and sat with their superintendent. But sometimes,
I know you went to all 44 counties.
Yeah, but you look at like some of these districts and the duplication of school boards and administrators, literally a 9-iron away from the next guy, and you're like, how does this make sense? But then you start talking about how tightly community-based they are, but it goes back to sports and, hey, we're pirates and we're this and we're that.
Vikings.
We're Vikings, whatever. Yeah. And yet you could say, well, yeah, but there's a better way to spend the dollars to get the kids what they need. And boy, it doesn't take long until those conversations get...
You want to fire people up?
Oh, yeah.
You talk about consolidation. Oh. You just bring that term up. And I think Grangeville and I can't remember if it's Cammie Ahlquist. I don't remember exactly, but they're just going through that right now where they're breaking off. So in Salmon River is Riggins. Yeah. I think it's Salmon River. They broke off a while ago. So here's the thing. You'll have a community like Grangeville that could pass a bond, but the resources don't necessarily flow to these these outlying communities. And so they're saying, darn it, if I want to vote for this, I want to vote for it for my own community. Yes. So it becomes more defined and I think actually grows. So there is a huge redundancy on administrative stuff.
Yeah.
You know, this was Bob Locken's big deal a long time ago. Is how do you centralize that in a way where the back office and all the other stuff is aggregated into either a data system that makes sense? It was Tom Luna's big push on SchoolNet. How do we have a digital backpack for every kid? How do we reduce these operational costs? Here's what you don't talk about. The local members of that community that are serving in those roles, it's their job.
Yeah.
So what's more important? Saving money or keeping these rural people employed in meaningful jobs? You know, it's this balance. It's a struggle for balance. Yeah. You know, we're doing it nationally right now with our governmental efficiency work, and we're even doing it at the state level. So ideally, you know, I love our state. I mean, I love this state in so many ways. The fact that we can operate with a balanced budget, but there's always people on the other side of that budget. So what does that balance look like? Do you cut back, or do you let things happen through attrition and then not backfill it? I mean, you're talking about people in a lot of cases, and I got this bigger thing, and this has to do with education as well, but I think we need to do something as a country to rebuild our middle class. Like I just know that we've got this kind of condensed wealth thing that's occurring, and then there's nothing. There's just no middle class anymore. And so you're either part of this 1, 2, 5% or you're not. And then that's shaping, I think, politically, ideology, how we operate as a country. And I don't know if that's good or bad, but how do we grow this middle class And I think education plays a role in that. But how do we grow that in a way where people are, first of all, productive, find purpose in their life, they're productive, they're proud to be they're proud to be an American, and they're proud to give back in the way of their service and their time and their resources to their local communities. I think there's a piece of that we're overlooking. I mean, we talk about it all the time. I'm just not sure if we're really thinking about that in a way that's going to keep our country strong for a long time. I just don't know.
I love that. And then I'm sitting here thinking in the middle of that, because it is our biggest problem, but then it is the surrounding elements that are affecting that are our national debt.
Yeah,
1/4 of every taxpayer dollar just goes to pay the interest on that debt right now.
exactly.
Secondly, healthcare. I mean, just
Out of control.
The cost of healthcare.
Yep.
The biggest lie ever told to us is, hey, let the big systems own everything and they'll bring the cost down. It's never cost more. It's never been more expensive than it is right now to have anything done.
Or let the bureaucrats do it,
Yeah.
and it's going to bring the cost down. Either way, it's going up. I just don't know.
And in the middle of it, we're trying to help the middle class, which they're the ones that are right on that borderline.
Yeah.
When things are more expensive than they've ever been. Housing. So you start talking housing, healthcare, and the national debt. And then we're trying, I mean, we need some great leadership, and they're big problems. I look back, I get in trouble because I say this all the time, but I look back to Mitt Romney when he was running his first 100 days, and I go back to that stinking first 100-day document, because he had this: how we tackle immigration, this is how we tackle healthcare, this is how we tackle entitlements. And now it's almost 20 years ago, and I think about if you were trying to tackle those problems then, which we've kind of just ignored them now it's just exponentially harder to do now.
Yeah. I think that it's going to take the collective wisdom of some pretty smart people, and maybe AI can help us create a framework. And maybe AI can help us shape
that's
something.
what Elon says. I mean, you listen to Elon talk about how do we ever get out of this. He's like, it's got to be AI creating so much productivity and wealth that it can somehow solve this problem. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's what we're down to.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing I've heard that's.
But here's one thing, I mean, we talked about education, AI, technology, that kind of stuff. But I think, if I was just to think ahead of, there's a side of me, I've read so much. I mean, I read, my first book I read on AI was probably 8 or 9 years ago, and it was called AI, The Last Human Experiment. It was kind of scary. I mean, the way that it was written. But since then, I've dug in a little bit more, and I'm more of an optimist than I'm a pessimist or a doomsday prepper. But the reality is if we can't find a way to rebuild the middle class, and what I loved is your story about San Francisco and the offices filling up with young people, vibrant people, using this to be more productive, et cetera. How do we expand that reach on these new jobs beyond just the technical expertise to where it provides people purpose in their life, and it allows them to be productive, and it grows? We've always had, there's been this congregation of wealth. We've always had that in our society. But for a long time, that group was hell-bent on giving and supporting
I agree.
people in jobs that help them grow that wealth. I mean,
well, you think about the Albertsons family.
think about Joe Albertson.
Think about this. Think
the
about
Simplots.
You think about
the Morrisons.
The Morrisons. It was part of the ethos.
Henry Ford. It was his
we
ethos.
will grow this, but we will bring everyone along as we do it.
We can't do it without them.
We can't do it without them. And I think for a lot of companies, it still feels that way.
Yeah.
It does, but is there enough of it, and how do we fix the bigger problems? I don't know.
80% of the businesses in this country are small businesses, and they're trying to make ends meet, period.
Yeah.
And then, I'm not a huge fan of minimum wage. I think just fundamentally, when I talked about the parental apathy in relationship to how kids are educated and how they're spending their time and that kind of stuff, somehow we've lost our way, I think, in a lot of ways of parenting to produce kids that you can be proud of, that are proud to be American, proud to be Idahoans. I don't think it's been intentional. I think it's been out of necessity. when I was on the board at the United Way here for years, we used to do that. What's that assessment?
Community assessment.
The community assessment, community needs assessment. And I'll never forget this. This was probably 20 plus years ago. The donor population basically said, these people, we need to provide these people financial literacy. And I'm talking about these people, the affected population, the people receiving the benefit from the donors of the United Way. I was like, that's interesting. And I go, what do the donors say? What do the donor recipients say they need? They said they needed a job with a livable wage. So here you have someone that's willing to do the work. All they want to do is earn a livable wage. And then you have a donor population that said they just need financial literacy. They're making enough already. And for me, it was such a disconnect.
Wow.
What a story. I was like, what are we doing? How do we get somebody to not work 3 jobs so they can also be a really great parent on a livable wage? And then, okay, then we can teach them financial literacy, but let's let them foundationally get their feet underneath them. But I think this breakdown of the American family, the Idahoan family, the busyness, the distractions. I'm putting it at your phone right now, but the distractions of everything else other than being right here and fully present. How do we do more of that? How do we do more of that actually leads to people being interested in participating at a new level? I think it can happen at school. I think that can happen at home. I think it can happen in your church. I think that can happen in your community. I think it can happen in a lot of places.
Do you, we got to wrap up here, but do you think I'm trying to end on a very positive note.
Yeah.
Do you think the pendulum will swing back a little bit? Because it seems like if I think of the last 15 years, I talked to good people like you, like we got to do this. So many people say the same thing.
Yeah. We
got to focus back on communities and families and things and some quiet time and away from technology. I think I'm hearing that a lot more now. I don't know how it actually happens because of the addiction. I mean, it is an addiction.
It is an addiction. Well, let me just tell you this. This is just one thing that you just said that made me think of this. So, at our foundation, we say we're about hand-ups, not handouts. I think we as individuals, Tommy, it starts with you and I. What are we doing to help people to hand up?
Yeah.
And how do we expand that amongst our network and then our groups? And how do we pay that part forward? What does a hand up look like? I think then we've got so many people with their hands out right now. It's because they don't know anything different. They just don't know what you and I learned as young children. It's up to us to do good things, to do the right thing, to work hard, to take care of what's immediate to us. My grandfather taught me, you are responsible. You are responsible for everyone that you bring into this world. Not the government, not me, no one. You are. So when you think about that as a parent, what is your responsibility? I mean, it's everything. You're living it right now. You're doing it right now. It's everything. And so, tough love. It's going to sound not necessarily entertaining to the folks, but I'm just saying, tough love. I mean, lived experiences, wisdom from those bad experiences. That's just the journey and the circle of life. And so, I don't know. You asked me a question about technology and social media and distractions. I think the intention of social media was to bring people together. I think we figured out a way to monetize it in a way that's actually made it addicting.
Yeah.
You probably read The Anxious Generation.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, we're letting our kids and grandkids do things on their cell phones that you and I never even knew were even a thing. But we're letting it, it's an open book right now.
Yeah.
That's disturbing to me. So I don't know how you tighten that up because, like I said, in this congregation of wealth, we can monetize just about anything anymore. And then it's aggregated in one spot and it's actually turned into this addiction thing, which is in some cases are destroying people's lives. So you asked me one other thing I tell my kids, hey, be fully present.
Yeah.
Just be present.
Be present.
Be there right here, right now.
Hey, this is going to be fun.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time.
We could talk for hours. I love it. I love it, Roger.
You give me a microphone and a headset and you across the table, I could do this
You could
all
all
day.
see why this guy's one of my best friends. Well, before we close down our episode, thank you for all you do. I love you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
You are just, you've been an inspiration for me for a long, long time. Great mentor, and I appreciate the heck out of you.
Ditto.
This will be fun today.
Yeah. Thanks for everything.
Thanks.